Hey, Big Brother fans. So we have got a lot of action with Vince being ripped into after the power of veto compass. He is being pressured heavily about his renom selection. Plus, it turns out Ashley is not who we thought she was at all, and there is a ridiculous lawsuit rumored. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt. Please click subscribe, and let's get into it. So we're going to talk about some live feeds drama, some issues with the Sunday episode as well. One thing I noticed watching the hashtag on X while I was also watching the episode is how many fans despise Vince's nonstop tear fountain. One person called Vince a weepy lumberjack. Nice nod to the flannel shirt. Some other comments were always such an effing victim. And another said, Vince is making, quote, victim noises. That's a nice callback to Cody the Marine. By the way, Morgan has been doing a whole lot of babysitting of crybaby Vince, and they've been cuddling a whole lot, like a lot. So much so that fans were starting to rant about him cheating on his girlfriend, calling it a cheat mance, also on the hashtag. But here's the thing. Vinny has a hall pass from his girlfriend to flirt in Big Brother as part of his strategy. But at one point, Vince slid his hand up into Morgan's t-shirt sleeve, which was kind of weirdly intimate looking. And she was curled up around him, talking about how she wished that she wasn't a have-not or she'd sleep in the bed with him. But realistically, Vince needs babysitting and, I don't know, maybe a midnight diaper change to try and keep him true to the judges' alliance. Bottom line, he's in a corner. Half the house, Morgan, Ashley, Rachel, and Will, with a side of, you know, maybe Mickey off and on, want him to nominate Catherine. The other half wants Rachel as the renom. But here's a couple of things to consider. First, Catherine is never, ever going to forgive Vince for voting to evict Rylie. Second, Morgan warned Vince if he renoms Rachel and she stays, it's going to go badly for him. Morgan laid it out. If Ava or Rachel wins the BB Blockbuster, she won't be evicted because if Ava wins, Rachel's next to Kelly, who is despised. And if Rachel wins it, Ava's next to Kelly, and then Kelly goes anyway. Bottom line is, if Crazy Kelly doesn't win the BB Blockbuster, she's probably toast this week, depending on the renom. And if it's Rachel versus Ava, you know, there is a chance Rachel could be evicted. So Will, Ashley, and Morgan won't vote to evict Rachel. Mickey likely won't. Keanu might not. So even in that scenario, there's no guarantee for Vince that his target Rachel goes. Also, Vince told Rachel that Keanu dropped her and Ashley's names as renoms, and Rachel confronted Keanu, who then confronted Vince. Really, Keanu's got no room to talk about anything Vince said to Rachel because Keanu runs his mouth all over the damned house. Another factor to consider for Vince is that Morgan told him if he renoms Rachel, she's done with Vince. And that means the judges are done with him too. And this was wild. Remember how Rachel has told Keanu several times that Rylie was going to nominate him. And Keanu told Rachel every time, no, it can't be true. Basically calling her a liar. Rachel spoke truth and Keanu couldn't hear it. But then tear-stained Vince told Keanu the same thing while bawling. And guess what? All of a sudden, Keanu believed it. His mom or his girlfriend or some other female in his life needs to yank a knot in Keanu because Vince says it, okay. Rachel says it, no, it's a lie. Keanu only responds to mansplaining and will believe a man's lie over a woman's truth. I do not understand Keanu thinking every woman lies when she's speaking gospel. I want Keanu to show me on the doll where a woman bad touched him because there is something broken in him that he cannot fathom that he should believe a woman who is speaking truth to him, except for Kelly. He believes whack job Kelly about everything and she hates him. So Vince has been worked over by Morgan almost nonstop as she's fighting to keep Rachel and Ashley both off the block as renoms. Morgan even went so far as to say she'd rather see Ava go than Rachel. And Vince needs to think carefully about Rachel. I'm not saying he shouldn't take the shot, but if he does take the shot, Vince had better take her out or Rachel is going to come hard for him and Vince won't be able to play in the next HOH comp to protect himself. There's also the fact Rachel is a shield. She's always going to be a bigger target than him. But then again, Vince not renoming her gets Rachel into week 8 of the game, and she is probably right now the most dangerous player in that house. So I understand Vince has a lot weighing on him. Plus, he can't survive this week playing the middle. The renom is going to out him one way or another, so he's got to decide, is he playing with the judges, Rachel, Ashley, Will, and Morgan, with Mickey as a side item to that alliance, or is Vince with Crazy Kelly, Blabbermouth Keanu, Vengeful Catherine, and Lauren, the perpetual waffler? Plus, Vince needs to seriously consider Catherine's hatred, because she will come for him, and there's the fact that Kelly is balls to the walls Hannibal Lecter crazy. Get this, she told Vince that if she had won the veto, Kelly said she would have used it on Ava. And Vince asked, why would you do that? And Kelly says, I'd do it to be crazy. And Vince said, we're too far in for you to act like that. And Kelly said, but I was going to do it. See? Crazy. And if Vince thought she could be sane, he's wrong, because Kelly was back with a second dose of psycho later. She told Vince that he should get Mickey to use her veto on Ava, and then he renoms Keanu or Catherine. It's just wackadoo, and Vince said Mickey would never do that. Plus, it's funny Kelly throwing Keanu's name out there because he insanely thinks Kelly is a good friend of his. Keanu later circled back and was trying to get Vince to consider Will as a renom if he won't do Rachel. So what we're going to have is the rest of Sunday and Monday up until the veto ceremony and renom is Morgan pressing Vince to renom Catherine, and Keanu's going to press Vince hard to renom Rachel. I think it'd be interesting if Vince flipped it all around and renommed Keanu. I don't even know if anybody would be mad at him over that other than Keanu, you know. So right now, Ashley has finally and thankfully convinced Rachel she cannot trust Keanu. So when Rachel confronted him earlier, Keanu's lying and denying actually got Rachel to stop and pause and reconsider. But then Ashley came in with receipts, and it looks like she has finally burned Rachel's residual faith in Keanu, which is good news for the judges. Now let's talk about Ashley's wild scheme and then the lawsuit. So you know how the fandom has been saying Ashley's dumb. No way is she a lawyer. And in the house, Zach, Adrian, Vince, and Mickey have all said Ashley is so dumb. Will and others have mentioned how much she talks and that she's all over the place. You know, nobody thinks she's got a brain in her head. Here's the thing. This was a character she's been playing. She called it Sweet Dumb Ashley. So she was cam talking and revealed it was her plan to be seen as dumb and not worth nominating. Ashley said she studied Elle Woods from Legally Blonde to perfect her clueless character, and she sold it. This eats. She unpacked it all for the fandom on Saturday, and I was laughing listening to her. I had somebody here in the comments saying, no way is Ashley a real lawyer. And I answered back because I looked. I said she went to Loyola Marymount, which is a good school. She graduated magna cum laude from there, which is 3.7 to a 3.9 GPA. Then she went to Georgetown Law, which is a tier 1 school. Girl is not dumb. I knew that, but what I didn't know is Ashley was playing a character which she says she's about ready to drop and play for real. And speaking of lawyers and lawsuits, guess who's supposedly planning to sue CBS? Rodeo clown Rylie may be plotting to litigate with the network, according to some online chatter. The allegations say that he wants to sue for $15 million because the show ruined his life, fed him to the wolves, and edited him to look like a creep. I did see his mom around places flinging out the word defamation and saying there will be a lawsuit. So this chatter is plausible, but not confirmed. I'm certain even if Rylie does want to sue, that big fat contract he signed would prevent it. Plus, let's be real, CBS gave Rylie a sweetheart edit. It was his own words and deeds on the unedited live feeds that have people hating on him. So we'll see. We'll see if that actually shows up in court. I'm not expecting it. Check back tomorrow for the results of the veto ceremony, and I'll let you know who Vince renommed and whether he cried a river of tears before, during, and after the meeting. Since Lay's chips, remember, gave Taylor Hale a deal, I'm just wondering if maybe Puffs Plus with lotion is going to offer Vince a sponsorship.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.